Hi everyone, Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode, as well as over 430 episodes in our catalog that you can watch and listen for free. If you can do us a big favor and give us a big thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, uh, reach out to 25 your contacts in their phone. Let them know, share Voices for Voices with them. Let them know who we are, what we're standing for, and how we have incredible goals of not only reaching 100 countries, which we already have, but we want to reach 300 countries. And we're just about at 1,100 cities worldwide. We want to make that 3,000 cities worldwide. And our big goal of helping at least 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond, which I know we can do. We're well on our way to doing it, and we can't do it without you. So thank you very much for joining, watching, listening here in the United States or across the world. We're grateful to have you with us on this particular episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. So this episode is gonna step into, I guess you can call it pop culture. Uh, we're still talking and sharing voices. So let's start there. So just recently, the Grammy Awards looks like were held. And so there are, it's an award show. That's the easiest way to put it. It's an award show. Uh, the winners are announced if they're uh, in the studio or in the arena and they've won. You know, they get to go up on stage and give an acceptance speech. Usually, the acceptance speech goes something like this. I want to thank everybody who has helped me on this journey. My parents, my family, uh, my manager. You get the idea. And so usually that's how the acceptance speech goes. However, recently, last several years, the Grammy Award, I guess, winner speech has stepped into political views, uh, things that are going on in the world that they don't agree with or that they do agree with. Uh, some of that can be seen on some of uh, the attendees, um, some of their outfits, some of their dresses, some of what they wear to the show itself. Having certain slogans on uh, on their attire. So we're talking about the voices, right? Everybody has a voice. We're sharing that and those each and every show. And so we're gonna jump into basically three of the acceptance speeches. So the first one, you may know, Jelly Roll. And so he won an award at the Grammys, and he talked about and pulled out the Bible from his pocket and say how Jesus saved him, the importance of the Bible, that if he saved him being Jelly Roll, he can save us. And that I think was a try not to give too much opinions on this, but it was really remarkable to have somebody in pop culture come on stage in front of however many people were present at the award ceremony, as well as whoever watched and listened, to have somebody talk about God and Jesus and the Bible. And so that was the first one. That was the first acceptance speech that that we're talking about. So it's just remarkable because I think it's the first time it's ever happened. So that's why it's newsworthy. That's why we're sharing it on on our show. Why we think it is important enough to talk about. You don't have to be a believer. Jelly Roll was just sharing his beliefs and a way that has helped him over the course of time. And so I look at that as a positive speech because he wants to help people. He's sharing, this helped me. This can help you as well. So again, regardless if you have the same belief as Jelly Roll or not, just the fact that it was more on the positive side as opposed to these next two acceptance speeches that we're going to talk about. And so the second one we talked about on an earlier show about the halftime performance and the competition, uh, Bad Bunny, and then the Great American halftime show as an alternative to watch. Well, the uh, the halftime show that the National Football League for American football Super Bowl goes on. And so it gives people a choice, right? Should have an ability to have a choice. You have the ability and the choice to watch or listen to our podcast, our TV show, and you also have the chance to watch and listen to another one. You have a choice. And so that's all that's going on there. And we talked about that and previously where Bad Bunny said, "Hey, you have this many months to learn Spanish." And we talked about how we juxtapose that with the Olympics and when you're in a different country, as I've been in multiple, the pride, I'll say pride, the uh people just really value the country that they live in. And so that's part of like, okay, we accept you, Bad Bunny. We accept you into the United States. From a performance standpoint, American football, is that the right call for a halftime performance at American football Super Bowl? I don't know. That's way above my pay grade, so I don't know. I'm just echoing what the buzz is, I guess you can call it. So that's part of it, part of that Grammy acceptance. And then there's another part, and this really connects with the third one as well. And it was I'm not gonna say the cuss word. I'm just gonna say both Bad Bunny and Billie Eilish, who's the third that we're gonna talk about. They said F ice, F ice, F ice. So ICE is the organization that is part of the law, the laws here in the United States to investigate, to potentially arrest, to potentially deport individuals who are in the United States illegally. And so I'm gonna make this very straightforward. We are voices for every single person across the world. However, that includes following the law and the laws. And so when Bad Bunny and Billie Eilish say F ice, like, will mistakes happen? We're human beings. Again, I'm not giving ice a pass. All I'm trying to say is when you're dealing with humans, that sometimes mistakes happen. But just to be upset at an organization and a group doing what it's doing that is covered under the law, they're allowed to have their opinions, just like we are. So I'm not here to bash Bad Bunny, to bash Billie Eilish, or anybody else that comes out. They're entitled to their opinion, and that's okay. We're also entitled to our opinion, and that's okay. So we do represent every voice of every person across the world. Voices for voices. That doesn't mean we get to break the law, kick in vehicles, stand in front of vehicles, all the different things. That's not silent protest. That's getting in the way of people that are following the law as much as possible. I don't know, maybe Bad Bunny knows somebody or knew somebody that is in our United States of America illegally, meaning they haven't followed the right process. If you go to another country, you don't just get to go in and just start collecting the benefits of that country. At least the countries I've been in, you don't get to do that. So Why do people think that it's okay to do that here and think that like, well, we're not gonna have repercussions for that. And so that was part of Bad Bunny and Billie Eilish's acceptance speech, is they were talking like that, and the language too. If we're having a supposed kid-friendly show, and then people start dropping F-bombs, and then there's people who are obviously going to clap, and they'll do a standing ovation or whatever they'll do. That's okay. They have that right to do that. But when you have a show for kids, or where kids could potentially be watching, we're teaching them that we can just swear, use cuss words, not even getting into the topic. And then we get to the the third, Billie Eilish. So Billie didn't just do the F ice. And so I'm gonna be quoting probably a couple different outlets here. Actually, looks like it's the same outlet. I'm gonna be quoting from the California Post directly. Quote, lefty pop star Billie Eilish is facing calls to hand over her ritzy Los Angeles digs to a Native American tribe or illegal immigrant after she declared no one is illegal on stolen land at the 68th annual Grammy Awards ceremony. Quote, end quote. And the highlight topic wise, as far as what catches our attention. So this was on Instagram. Quote from California Post. Quote, stolen land Grammys rant explodes in Billie Eilish's face as critics demand she hand over her luxury homes. End quote. Second part, or I guess third part, talk about the F ice and then this part. Then there's a third part, again from the California Post. The headline reads, quote, cheeky law firm offers to help Native American tribe evict Billie Eilish from their land after smug Grammys rant, referring to Billie Eilish. And so a little bit more in depth from the California Post, quote, a brash California law firm has offered to help evict Billie Eilish on behalf of Native American tribe that owns the land, the singer's multi-million dollar LA or Los Angeles mansion after the pop star's self-righteous rant at the Grammys backfired. And then the last of the California Post, quote, a brash California law firm has offered to evict Billie Eilish on behalf of the Native American tribe that owns the land under the singer's multi-million dollar Los Angeles mansion after the pop star's self-righteous rant at the Grammys backfired. Still in quote, but this is from the law firm. Quote, it's incredibly hypocritical of Hollywood elites to preach from their gated and guarded property Avi Sinai, the owner of the firm, said. So there's just a lot going on there. There's a lot going on. And so sometimes we find that there's not research or due diligence that's done before, speeches. They say what's on their mind, what's on their heart. It's okay. We're all entitled to that. Billy's entitled to her opinion. Bad Bunny is entitled to his opinion. I'm entitled to mine. And so we have people that have their speeches and they choose to use them different ways. So at the beginning of the show, we talked about Jelly Roll and how he brought out the Bible, talked about how it saved him. That's a positive. That's a positive speech to talk about that. And I'm not saying that because I'm a believer too. I'm just saying it's a positive thing, saying, look, this helped me. This helped me. This helped me. Maybe it'll help you. That's a positive way to use your time at the acceptance podium. And then we juxtapose the Bad Bunny comment against Ice about the Super Bowl halftime show. People just got to live with it, learn Spanish, F Ice, and then Eilish, F Ice, and then talking about the land, where the land that at least one of her mansions is on, isn't hers. It was the it was the Native American tribe. And so there was a little more research done with Billy and Bad Bunny, then maybe it wouldn't be getting so much airplay. And I reiterate, we're voices for voices, including all voices, including Billy's, including Bad Bunny's. Sometimes heated rhetoric can can get to people and make them feel justified to break the law or laws. Again, we're voices for voices, but that does not mean that we can break laws and then just go on with our life. We're still voices for voices. However, you break the law, you break the law. And if you're telling people to break the law and you're riling people up by saying F ice and people are clapping and they're feeling empowered to do things like breaking the law or breaking the laws, breaking one law or more than one. And so we have to keep that in our in our minds when we make comments, when we talk. I'm not perfect, nobody's perfect. I don't really have one way or another an opinion. because we're voices for voices of everybody. They're entitled to their opinion. We're entitled to ours. It just might not be the best way to use primetime TV to talk about these things. You know, if we're gonna talk about the land and we haven't checked to see if our very home is on land that was of a Native American tribe, but yet we're gonna get in front of a microphone and a camera and hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people and say what we said. We can't get upset at people who are saying, wait a minute, your mansion is actually on Native American land. And with ICE, they're upholding law and laws that are on the books. I get it. People are unhappy. Not everybody's going to be happy. We don't live in this utopian world. It'd be nice. It'd be nice. If everything was just so happy and nobody ever got hurt. No, unfortunately, we know that people can get hurt not only physically but mentally by words, by actions. And if we want to be a role model for people, we should think about that. You know, maybe Billy, maybe Bad Bunny, maybe they just got caught up in the moment and felt the need that they could say things that they were thinking privately, or their publicist said that you should talk about this. I don't know. But the more investigation, the more research we do, especially when we've got this big megaphone, this big microphone, this big camera that's beaming our show all across the world. It's beaming the Grammy Awards all across the world. You can't have it both ways. And so that's why I said from the beginning, we're voices for everybody. Doesn't mean we have to agree with everything that everybody says. But what it does mean is everybody has that chance, that option. We've invited basically everybody on our show to be a guest, to talk about these topics, talk about other topics, talk about happy topics, talk about unfortunate topics. So just wanted to bring this up, some pop culture, but still voice. Billy and Bad Bunny and Jelly Roll, they used their voice kind of in three different ways. The last two are similar-ish. So it just gives us something to think about. It shows how quickly news moves too, as well. How quickly an Instagram post or a Facebook post or a TikTok, how it can reach millions and billions of people. So let's just think about what we say. Again, we're not perfect. There are gonna be times where I don't even know if flub is the right is a word first, but there's gonna be times where we're going to be like, oh man, I shouldn't have said that. If it's on tape, it's on recording. I can't deny I didn't say it. I can come out and say I should have did a little more research. But what we're talking about are facts, are things and words that were said. So we can argue about what the topics were and all that, but these words were actually said. So these are facts. So people may not like that. People may not like the fact we're talking about this. That's okay. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. If you can reach out to 25 of your contacts, let them know about the Voices for Voices podcast TV show. We greatly appreciate that. You can give us a big thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share. Let them know about Voices for Voices. We greatly appreciate it. And we are a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. If you live here in the United States, you can donate at lovevoices.org, lovevoices.org, lovevoices.org. And one more time, spelled out LOVEVOICES.org. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next show. Let's celebrate the voice of others, even if even if it is different than ours, even if it's on a topic and on an opinion we believe or we don't believe. Let's still celebrate all the voices of the world. And until next time, Justin Alnays, Voices for Voices. Let's please be a voice for you or somebody in need. We'll see you next time, everybody. Sending love, vibes, good vibes your way.